Power sword or chain sword on bulwark. Okay, so I found this post interesting because I mostly use the power sword. However, I also use the chain sword when I play tactical, and the thought does cross my mind if the power sword is even worth it, because the chain sword, frankly, has the damage and also has some pretty good attack speed. The power sword is still good with its combos, obviously, but certain combos in the power sword, at least in my opinion, just feel a little bit slow. So if you're in a battle that's getting really, really sloppy and there's a whole bunch of people around you, just being in one spot is super dangerous. So it's really easy with the chainsword to like dodge, get a hit in, maybe another hit in, dodge, and you know, keep going. Now you can do that with the power sword also, but I'm pretty sure the chainsword does a little bit damage. Either way, I definitely wanted to educate myself in the comparison with these two swords to see exactly what makes them so different. Cool factor of the power sword aside, which one is better? I've gotten them both to relic and seems like the chainsword is better all around, even though I'd rather use the power sword for aesthetics. Yeah, I'm basically in the same boat. I didn't know the power sword was actually weaker until I, started to get more time in the game. But yeah, the power sword looks so cool, man. I find that I missed the stomp. I switched stance with the power sword for mobs majorus, but it's not quite clicking. What am I missing? Okay, yeah, let's see what the community kind of comes to the conclusion with this conversation. I use power sword because I find it easier to constantly trigger gun strikes, but it's down to preference. No, that's a good point. That's a very, very good point. The power sword, you can just swing it off at a group of minorists, and then yeah, you can just trigger gun strikes super easy. That's a fair point. I'd probably say power sword is marginally better, but not enough to use it over chainsword if you prefer it. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, someone mentioned you can do the sprint with the chainsword attack. Oop, excuse me. You can do the sprint with the chainsword to get another gun strike. So, I don't know. That's interesting, though. It's... Power sword does, like, hit them back pretty far, and then, it is easier to trigger gun strikes with the power sword. All you have to do is swing it. With the chainsword, you have to run, and, yeah, then you get the gun strike. But... Huh. Interesting. I honestly did not realize that the power sword was getting this outclassed by the chainsword. I simply just thought that the chainsword had a little bit more damage, and then its basic attacks were just a little bit faster. But like, yeah, if the combos aren't even worth it, like if people who are maining the power sword are only using it for the gun strikes, then that's rough, man. You can swap stances with the power sword by dodging and holding the attack button. With this little trick in mind, try mixing up your combos and using all modes for everything. Okay, nah, I get that. That's actually a really good point. The power sword does have a lot of versatility. However, that's still like a lot to juggle. You know what I mean? Like, you might be in a situation where you kind of want one stance, but you just ran into an enemy that you needed another stance for. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's situational. However, yeah, the ability to swap stances while you're rolling is really, really good. That's a good point. That's a good point. Power sword has a higher skill ceiling, utility, and versatility with the different stances. Power stance with second and third attacks have a wave attack, which is great for disrupting a larger area of effect. Which is great for disrupting and larger area of effect. Speed stance is great versus majorus and bosses, especially using power rake for disruption. Power rake. However, most of your damage is going to come from parries and gun strikes anyway. Switch stance by holding melee attack while doing a dodge, which eliminates the stood still doing nothing approach. Which eliminates the stand still doing nothing approach. Chainsword is standard and reliable. Combos are all reliable and useful. I find chainsword to be more of a defensive option than the power sword. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Honestly, I like pairing with either of them. For the most part, I can, parries should be the same, right? But yeah, that's definitely true. Power sword definitely has a higher skill ceiling. I mean, that goes both ways though. The power sword is definitely capable of like countering situations, I guess. But with that considered, that means you are still playing a situational sword. I mean, even if it has a high skill ceiling, it doesn't mean every moment's going to need it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. This makes sense. Second and third attacks have a wave attack, which is great for disrupting and larger area of effect. Yeah, wait, is it really larger than the chainsword third stomp? Because, like, that stomp is really, really good. And considering how reliable the basic attacks are, I always feel good using it. I don't know. Maybe I need to get a little bit better with the power sword combos as well, but I remember when I was playing Ruthless with a power sword recently, every time when I'd go into the stance where it's like you swing and then you do the little delay into the other, like, big damage, you just get punished. Even if it's a little bit of chip damage, it's like, I probably could have dodged that if I just, you know, went in with an attack. I'm about to get sniped. But I guess it's really made for, like, mobs that are melee mobs and not, you know, obviously you're going to struggle with ranged damage when you're using either of these weapons, like, as a main. Yeah, I don't know. I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more info. Chainsword is quite versatile. You can do crowd control and single target stun lock in multiple ways with combos. It's a simple go-to solution, but I too prefer the power sword for aesthetics. As long as you don't mind to keep switching styles for different situations, one good tip, holy run-on sentence, dude. This guy has 1, 2, 3, like 4 combos here. One good tip I learned from YouTube is doing the combos without moving the directional joystick. It will change your combo. It would chain your combos smoother. The directional joystick. Is he talking about like the aim, or is he? He's not talking about walking, right? Because as soon as you walk, I'm pretty sure it messes up your combo. I'm sure you can find some detailed instruction video on YouTube for power sword bulwark. Other than combos, you got to get used to doing gun strikes during crowd control. Yeah, I mean, yeah, power sword is great for gun strikes, and yeah, I can see myself. I do use the power sword on my bulwark, so I definitely notice the effect gun strikes have in clearing out mobs, like a large amount of mobs, even with Majorus. It's very, very useful. I started upgrading my pistol. I'm not too sure if upgrading your pistol does more damage for the gun strikes, but from what I read about the Neo Volkite pistol, it seems like it doesn't. That situation's so funny. Like, we still haven't really gotten down to a point. I saw a follow-up post about that same exact conversation if the Neo Volkite triggers AoE buildup on gun strikes. But yeah, back to the subject. Power Whirl and Air Thrust Whirl Slash will grant you a gun strike on Minarus to keep your armor plate up. And don't forget to activate the Master of Defense perk to reduce 20% range damage. 5 seconds is too short, I know. Yeah, Master of Defense, 20% range damage. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yep. I do like how they went into detail with the combos. Shout out to YouTube for showing people how to do combos. Yeah. So you know what? Is it possible to say Power Sword's better for single target fighting because of the combos? Even though, like, for whatever reason, Chainsword seems fine. I think this is mostly an appreciate the Chainsword's ability to just be simple and also effective, you know what I mean? But yeah, at the same time, I definitely want to use Power Sword more, and you can never get enough of those combos, man. You can never get enough of them. I know it's just not better, but nothing beats the Power Fist for me. Okay? Yep. Shout out to this guy who's just like, you know what? I'm gonna use the Power Fist. Definitely also prefer Power Sword for aesthetics, but yeah, Chainsword is just better. Parry, Gunstrike, and perks are still your main source of damage, but when you do get stuck in Power Sword is like a wet noodle compared to Chainsword. Okay. This is nice that somebody actually put their foot down and just mentioned that Chainsword is just a better weapon. But hold on, parry, gunstrike, and perks are still your main source of damage. But when you do get stuck in, what? But when you do get stuck in, I don't understand what this is supposed to reference. Stuck in what? Like a combo? Power Sword is like a wet noodle compared to Chainsword? Only possible consolation prize for the Power Sword is the fast stance has quite a long leap attack, allowing you to chase ranged Majorus when they dodge backwards, and it does look amazing. Yeah, I used to use that a lot in PvP, and it was fun. Very, very fun. Kind of want to go back to Bulwark and get some PvP on. But yeah, I should try Bulwark with the Chainsword as well. I never tried the Bulwark with the Chainsword in PvP. I always used the Power Sword because of, yeah, aesthetics. Power Sword, okay. So, from what I'm getting... Oh, wait, someone disagreed with the just better part. Oh, boy. All right, let's read that. I am not sure if I agree on the just better part. Before we have some data mining or somebody does serious testing, I feel like the Chainsword and Power Sword performance is pretty similar if used correctly, and the choice is one based on personal preference. Okay. I actually prefer the power sword. Here's why. In certain situations, you will want certain attacks. Surrounded, you want a 360 AoE, a single target stagger if you fight one Matrix. Or, well, see, here's the thing. Fighting one Matrix is already such a non-issue that it doesn't even matter, like, what melee weapon you have there, as long as you land your parries. And both of them do have area of effect attacks. The chainsword has these in a clear linear layout depending on when you trigger heavy. Yeah, I guess. I guess the stomp is like linear. I mean, perhaps. It doesn't seem linear. It's not linear. What is he talking about? I guess he's talking about like the swings. The power sword has shortcuts to all of them. The actual time of doing 3 chainsword attacks into stomp isn't that much longer than switching into power whirl, but it's noticeable, and you can chain into it after any point during your attack chain. Okay. Another run-on sentence. Opening up some handy combos. While you have to go tunnel vision, what? Dringend? So, I genuinely don't understand. Why? This is like the roughest comment section I've ever seen. Some of these, like, I just don't understand why they're wording things certain ways. Anyway, so, So apparently the actual time of doing 3 chainsword attacks into stomp isn't that much longer than switching into power world, but it's noticeable. You can chain it into any point during your attack chain, opening up some handy combos. While you have to go tunnel vision for the chainsword. Usually just go through the whole combo again and again. Yeah, that's true. The chainsword can get pretty bland. I find single target with the power sword more flexible because I can bring out the 2 staggering rakes. Bring out when I want them. Yeah, see, like, what? Like, seriously, this is... Alright, you know what? I'm really not trying to make fun of people, how they word stuff, but I just think they're rushing through these comments. Because this... Right here, it says, I can bring out the 2 staggering rakes, bring out when I want them. Okay, we get it. You can bring it out. Another really big plus is the reliable combo of slow light attack powered up into gunstrike against Minoris as a 100% armor refresh. Oh my god. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why. I just have to picture the word my. What? Whatever. Another really big plus is reliable combo. So, honestly, their points about the power sword are correct. I just don't think English is their first language, so it's kind of hard to piece this together. So, yeah, of course there's a really nice... All of the combos for power swords are strong. I don't think that's really the conversation. It's just how reliable they are. The chainsword has its merits too, though the kick is very good to keep Matrix almost completely stun-locked, while the dual power rake is also there after a single light attack. It's not a direct equivalent. So the power rake can potentially stun-lock, and that's with the power sword. But the chainsword has a kick that can stun-lock, and that's what? That's a swing into the kick, or is that... No, it's swing, kick, isn't it? I'm pretty sure swing goes into the, like, shield bash, where you kind of do your, like, little shoulder bump. At the end, it's mostly a matter of taste, but I wouldn't dismiss the power sword's flexibility and the overall damage output. Okay. Yes, power sword obviously has better flexibility, but I would argue that the fact that you can just bring out the chainsword in any situation also gives it flexibility, but you just don't have to jump through hoops for it. Yeah, okay. Yep, I think I reached a conclusion with this comment. I believe the chainsword is a better weapon, practically in every situation, besides one target fights. At least that's how it feels like, because power sword does have the speed mode. So with the speed mode, you are able to punish single targets very easily. However, power sword makes up with the fact that it's mostly a single target weapon, at least that's how it feels, with the ability to easily trigger gun strikes. Huh. Okay, dude, the more I talk about it, why is this conversation the toughest one? It feels like they're just very comparable. This is how you know melee, at least these 2 melee weapons are balanced. Okay. They are balanced besides basic attack damage and higher difficulties. However, with that considered, you know what? I didn't see anybody really compare difficulties with these yet. Let me know in the comments how you feel, because this is definitely one that feels pretty controversial. It feels like there isn't a wrong answer, However, I feel like there's an infinite number of situations where we can break down the benefits between the chainsword and the power sword. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I guess it is mostly a matter of taste. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Either way, if you're pairing, both those weapons are going to be really good. Chainsword is just, oh man, it just feels so good getting those executions. Power sword executions are okay at 2, I guess. But like chainsword, just the classic, just like chaining through, like chaos armor, feels super good. But yeah, okay. So I'll at least give you my take here. I prefer the chainsword just because of it's just a less tedious weapon. See, sometimes with skill ceilings, it does become tedious, but I can understand where people would rather have the power sword. I don't know. Either way, let me know in the comments what you think. I feel like this conversation can go on forever, so let me stop it now. And let's continue this in the comments. Yeah, definitely let me know. Oh, also let me know, like, what difficulty you're running these also. Because I guess the only lethal class I even ran was tact. Like, the only class on lethal I ran was tactical, and I was using a chainsword for that, and it felt pretty good. But, obviously, with parries and gun strikes considered. But okay, yeah. Good info. Either way, good info.